If a friend or loved one recently asked you to officiate their wedding, your first reaction was probably an immediate yes. It's a huge honor, and you couldn't be more excited to rise to the occasion. But now that the reality is really sinking in, you're probably thinking to yourself, what do I even say up there? How does this whole thing even work? You've probably been to a dozen weddings as a guest and spent the whole time just watching. You weren't thinking about the structure, you were thinking about whether you were going to cry during the vows. So I want to reassure you by saying most first-time officiants don't know what sections should be included in the wedding ceremony. That's totally normal, and that's exactly what we're going to fix today. Also, hi, I'm Katie. I'm the creator of Something Borrowed Ceremonies, and today I'm walking you through all 13 parts of a modern wedding ceremony, what happens in each one, what your job is, and an overview of what to actually say. By the end of this video, you'll have a really clear picture of the full ceremony so you can stop worrying about missing something and start actually writing. Let's get into it. Now, I want to be upfront. Every ceremony is a little different, but here's an overview of the standard modern structure that I use with most couples I've worked with and that I've seen successfully delivered at other weddings. But let's explore each of these sections in greater detail. Starting with the officiant announcements. This is the very first thing you'll do before anyone walks down the aisle. You step up to the front, you get everyone's attention, and you share any important logistics that need to be discussed prior to the wedding. The big things to cover include asking people to silence their phones, sharing any photography guidelines the couple has requested. For example, if the couple doesn't want folks taking photos on their phones during the ceremony, you'll need to tell people. You'll also want to let folks know where the bathrooms are and let people know about anything atypical that might be happening during the ceremony. For example, if there's the words to a poem that's been left on folks' chairs that the couple would like attendees to read, let them know when this will be happening in the ceremony. You can say something like, "We'll be getting started in just a few minutes. Before we do, a quick reminder to silence your phones. Also, the couple has asked for an unplugged ceremony, so please keep cameras and phones put away so our photographer can capture everything. Please note that the closest restrooms can be found by the pool bar." So this is short, friendly, and sets everyone at ease before a single person walks down the aisle. Next, the processional is when the wedding party walks in, followed by the couple. Your job here is pretty light. One thing that trips first-timers up is that you need to know who is walking and in what order ahead of time. Get this from the couple long in advance of the rehearsal or wedding day so you're prepared. You'll also want to cue the guests to stand for the bride if there is one and if that's desired, and then to sit after the bride has processed and walked up to the front. Please note that if there are two brides or two grooms or two gender non-conforming folks, you will want to proactively ask what the couple's preference is for when attendees should stand. Immediately after the processional, you welcome everyone to the ceremony. Here's an example of what this sounds like for me. Friends, family, and loved ones, we're gathered here today to witness and celebrate the marriage of Name 1 and Name 2. On their behalf, we're so grateful you're here and that you made the journey to be with us today. Your presence not only enhances the joy of this occasion, but is also essential in offering the couple support as they embark on this new chapter of their lives. Thank you so much for coming. After this, I personally like to say, not only does a wedding represent the union between two people, but also the union of their family and friends. I don't know all of you well, but I've enjoyed everyone I've met through Megan and Peter, or, insert names here. So I'm thrilled to be brought together by the love that stands before us. Next up, we have the acknowledgments. And this is where you acknowledge anyone who couldn't attend the wedding, whether that's a loved one who has recently passed away or a grandparent who couldn't travel. You might include a brief moment of silence or a small detail that honors that person's memory if you are honoring a recent passing. An important note here is that if you are going to acknowledge someone who has passed away, you'll want to send that section to the couple first for their approval. You want to get the details right, and you don't want to say something that catches anyone off guard, especially for something sensitive like the loss of a loved one. The next section is the grounding, and this is a personal favorite of mine, and it's also the section many first-time officiants skip or aren't aware of. The grounding is a moment you create for everyone, the couple, the guests, even yourself. And the purpose is to arrive and to become fully present to the moment. Wedding days are typically pretty chaotic for a lot of people. The couple has been running on adrenaline for months. They show up to their own ceremony still mentally running through their to-do list. The grounding gives everyone permission to exhale and really land in the moment. Here's an example of something that I've written for a wedding. I'd like to invite you all to take a deep breath and to root into the beauty of this moment together. Then you'll turn to the couple and say, feel free to hold your hands for this moment if you'd like, because I like the couple to kind of connect with each other in this moment and to take a big deep breath together. And then I say sort of back to attendees. And just as a quick note, that's something that can be a little bit challenging about wedding ceremonies, is that you're talking to attendees often, but you're also talking to the couple. So in this moment in particular, I sort of oscillate between who I'm speaking to, whether I'm projecting out to the attendees or whether I'm kind of speaking a little bit more quietly to the couple. So anyway, with that, I say back to the attendees. Let's offer our thanks and gratitude for what I'd consider perfect weather, the beautiful community that's here today to celebrate, the warmth of the light through the redwoods, and the romance-enhancing power of string lights. You'll obviously insert something that is relevant to the space that you're officiating in or the day that the couple is getting married, but that's just a line from a wedding that I've officiated. Okay, so continuing. I know this wedding has taken quite a bit of planning, especially on top of work obligations, moving into a new apartment, and Megan unfortunately tearing her Achilles late last year. This is a really important step in your relationship, and you've worked hard and laid so much groundwork to get here. So take a moment and let that really settle in. I often joke about the millions of little things that need to go right in a relationship before anyone takes this step with someone. The shared values, the communication, the mutual respect, and the masterful navigation of small annoyances and peeves. Watching two people commit their lives to each other is a beautiful and momentous occasion. Today is extraordinary not only for Megan and Peter, but for everyone who comes here with love in their hearts for this couple. Then, speaking directly to the couple again, I like to end by saying, it is my greatest honor to serve as your officiant today. And that's just sort of a little bit of a private aside to the couple directly. Next up, we have the Officiant Introduction and Love Story. These two sections are where the ceremony really becomes theirs. This is the part that separates a memorable ceremony from a forgettable one. The Officiant Introduction is where you set up how you know the couple individually. You speak to each partner's dynamic, their vibe, and what makes them them. Importantly, the section is not about you, but you serve as a third-party observer of who they are as people before diving into their relationship with each other. The Officiant Introduction should be roughly 2 to 3 minutes long. Next, the love story is exactly what it sounds like. You tell the story of how they met, how they fell in love, and what made them choose each other. I teach a whole method for writing this section, including how to gather the right information from the couple, how to structure it so it actually moves people, and how to tell a story that makes guests feel like they truly know these two people. If you want to go deep on this part specifically, I'm recording a video in the next few weeks where I'll discuss how to write this section, and I'll link it below once it's ready. But for now, just know this section requires actual writing, a real structure, and ideally some examples from people who know the couple well. Next, we have the readings and rituals. Some couples want a reading from a poem, a book, a religious text, or even a favorite song or a ritual like a hand fasting ceremony. Some don't. This is entirely up to the couple. If they do want readings, however, your job is to introduce the reader, step aside, and then bring things back after that reader has finished their reading. You can also read something yourself if there's no one who's been designated, but I personally like to give people a little bit of a break from my voice if possible. If they're skipping readings, great, you just move on. You don't include this section. After the readings and rituals comes the declaration of consent. This is sort of the I do section, and it's more important than people realize because it's actually a legal formality. This is where each partner formally states their intent to enter into a marriage contract. Think of it as the contractual part of the wedding ceremony. Here's a key distinction that a lot of officiants miss. The declaration of consent is not the same as the vows. The vows are promises about how they'll show up in marriage. The declaration is them consenting to be married. Very different things. It sounds something like, partner number 1, do you stand here today to commit yourself to partner number 2 in marriage? If yes, please say I do. I also really love adding a community declaration here, where you turn to the guests and ask them to commit to supporting the couple. It involves everyone in the room and creates this really beautiful moment of collective intention. A quick note, in some states you technically need an official statement of intent for the marriage to be legally valid. It's worth looking up your state's requirements just to be sure. After the declaration comes the vows. The vows really are the emotional heart of the ceremony. This is where the couple makes their promises to each other. There are a few options here. Some couples write their own vows, whereas some couples want to repeat their vows after you. Your job here as a friend and family officiant is to really guide them through this, not to perform it yourself. If they're writing their own, you step back and just give them space. You can also offer to read both of their sets of vows to make sure that they are roughly symmetrical in length and heartfelt sentiment, but ideally they should agree on a structure between themselves before actually writing them and then handing them off to you. If they're doing repeat after me style vows, keep the statements short. They're probably kind of nervous, so they're likely to forget the statements. Next, we have the ring exchange. You have the ring bearer present the rings, and then you say a brief line about what the rings represent, and have the couple place them on each other's fingers. So you can say something like, these rings are a symbol of the bond between the two of you. Their circular shape represents the never-ending love you've promised today. Please take turns placing the rings on each other's fingers with the words, with this ring, I marry you. After the ring exchange, you'll have the pronouncement and kiss. This is the moment that everyone has kind of been waiting for. You pronounce them married. It's a moment of elation and excitement. And it's also really exciting for you because it means that you're almost done officiating the ceremony and you're done with this kind of nerve-wracking event. Here's an example of what I like to say. So I say, with the sharing of your vows and rings, you have now crossed the threshold of marriage. I am so grateful to this community of family and friends for creating such a beautiful space to hold Megan and Peter with love and support now and into their marriage. May you continue to love them deeply as you always have. With these heartfelt wishes for a bright and beautiful future, and by the power vested in me, I now joyfully pronounce you husband and wife. Peter, you may now kiss the bride. Then you'll want to get out of the way and let the moment happen so the photographer can capture their first kiss without you lurking in the background. So as I mentioned, this is a really, really exciting moment. Now, please note that they might want different wording than you may now kiss the bride, because that can feel kind of antiquated, but you can do something like, you may now kiss each other for the first time as a married couple. After this, you'll want to offer a brief, warm close. You thank guests for being there, you direct them to what's next, whether that's a cocktail hour or a reception, and then you send the newlyweds back up the aisle. So what I say is, please join me in celebrating Megan and Peter. Cocktail hour will now be in the garden. Please enjoy, and don't be shy about celebrating these two. Something to note here is that people will often already be cheering for the couple or clapping, so it tends to be a pretty noisy moment. So sometimes you actually need to shout this over people's cheers, and that's okay, that's expected. Still make sure that you get these words out. It can be a little bit awkward if you're not comfortable yelling over people, but just know to expect that. And that's it. You just officiated a wedding. Okay, so now you know all 13 sections. And you might be thinking, great, but how do I actually write all of this? That's the right question, because knowing the sections is step one, and it's an important step, no doubt. But the real work is figuring out what to put inside each one. That's exactly what my course, More Than Words, teaches. It's a step-by-step program designed specifically for first-time officiants. It includes the full ceremony framework, how to write the love story, and the Officiant Introduction, which requires some real creative writing skills, and then also how to personalize each section and then show up on the day with confidence and really make sure that you are logistically dialed in. I offer you tons of options for each of these sections, as well as several real-world wedding ceremonies that I have actually written and delivered. It's currently $49, and you can get started today at somethingborrowedceremonies.com, and I'll also drop the link below. To quickly recap, here are the 13 sections in order: the Officiant Announcements, the Processional, the Welcome Statement, Acknowledgments, Grounding, Love Story, Readings, the Declaration of Consent, Vows, Ring Exchange, Pronouncement and Kiss, and Closing Remarks. Screenshot this, save it, put it in your notes. This is going to serve as your roadmap. And if you want to go deeper on any of these sections, the love story, the grounding, the vows, check out the course or let me know in the comments what section you want me to cover next, and I'll put it on the list. You've got this. I'm so excited for what you're going to create. You're going to do a great job. Check out the course if you feel so inclined, but otherwise hit like and subscribe for more.